Alright, so this is how we will solve a quadratic equation using the completing the square method. Our equation for this example will be x squared minus 4x minus 8 equals 0. So we would use the completing the square method when the equation is not a perfect square. This is where, if you remember, a perfect square is when you can take the square root of c, multiply it by 2, and it'll equal your b. Well, the square root of c in this equation, which is 8, times 2 does not equal 4. So this is not a perfect square equation. This method will be used in order to actually make an equation a perfect square. And to do that, first we will move c to the other side. Our c in this equation is going to be our negative 8, so we will add 8 to each side to get rid of it. Step 2 is we will add boxes to each side. These boxes are going to represent a number that we will add to make it a perfect square equation. Step 3 is get rid of any a values. We don't have any a because our a is an understood 1, and we can't get rid of it. But if you were to have an a, what you would do is you would divide every term. So you would divide the negative 4x and you would divide the 8 by whatever your a value was. But since we don't have that, we can skip over this step and move on to step 4, which is rewrite the left side as a perfect square. So first of all, we need to figure out what we're going to put into these boxes. And to do this, we will take our b, which is a negative 4, multiply it by 1/2 to get a negative 2, and then and then take the 1/2 of b and square it. So the square of negative 2 is positive 4, and that is what we are going to add to these boxes to make it a perfect square equation. So once we simplify, we will be left with the perfect square equation of x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 12. You know it's a perfect square equation because when you take the square root of 4, which is 2, and multiply it by 2, you will get 4, which is our b. The last step is to solve using the perfect square method, which we learned in another video. So we will take what we got in the last slide to be our perfect square equation, which was x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 12. Rewrite this left side as a perfect square, which is x minus 2 squared. Take the square root of both sides. We are left with x minus 2 equals positive or negative square root of 12. The square root of 12 will not come out as an even number, so we will be left with x minus 2 equals positive or negative 2 square roots of 3. Because this did not come out as an even number, we don't have to set up two cases to find our solutions. Our solutions are just going to be taking whatever is left over on the left side of the equation and moving it to the right side so that the entire equation is equal to x. Then our solution will be 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 3. And this can be our equation because the plus or minus is indicating that there's more than one possible answer. So it can be written as 2 plus 2 square roots of 3, 2 minus 2 square roots of 3. But the simpler version is this, where it's combined into the plus or minus. And this is how we solve a quadratic equation using the completing the square method.